What is up? So, we're having a good week. Ooh, okay. Very few options at the beer store today, but so today we made like 80 bucks. Um, didn't trade Monday. I'm just gonna show you this because so this was Monday, the 6th. Today's the 8th. 7th, 15 bucks. But when I go over here, April 7th, this is the beginning of April 7th. This is the end of April 7th. There were no trades, and you can see I have the trade thing on. So I don't know where the 15 bucks came from. I think I traded. I honestly can't remember. I think we should do Monday too because I think we posted since last week. But today was a good day. Today, April 8th. This is just the worst interface. But yeah, we took one trade. I was talking to my boss who trades, and because it is so easy to just get, well, it seems like it'd be so easy to just get 10 points on NQ and call it a day every day. But then your risk is like super unfavorable. And he said he takes 5 to 7 point stops. Um, and he just takes paper cuts until he gets a big one. But even, I mean, that's just such a small stop. He must be good entries because that's just such a tiny stop on the NQ. I don't know. So we're gonna see. We're gonna see. Um, and we'll look at the good ass day I had today. Bye. Again, this was another story of selling the. So we'll start with Monday. Start right around here. So in terms of zones from for Monday, we did have this zone right here. So that's what we're looking at primarily. We already busted through an old 1 hour zone. Just checking the 4 hour. And I'm seeing this now, but just for the future, like, Jesus. This looks like not a great zone, but it, kind of a zone. And we did bounce out of there, but we wicked through it. So I'm not going to draw that out, but it's just a little idea. But yeah, let's do Monday. So started right around here. And I'm kind of just these days just looking at like intraday, just looking at 5 minute zones, apart from my 1 hour zones and 4 hour zones, because I really don't want to like I'm still busy during the day. I really want this to be as like hands off as possible. So, I used to spend a lot of time drawing 1 minute zones, but I'm trying not to do that. One, because they're not as consequential. Two, just because it takes less time. But you can see from the beginning of it was a pretty sideways day during the RTH, but you can see we made this move down. We came out of it. Uh, Not the best. Okay, I'm not going to switch back and forth. Not the best zone because we didn't break any lower and we're bouncing out of this already. We're bouncing out of this. Um, so maybe there's something I don't want. Okay, let's. Maybe there's something on the one that's saying at the open that we should take that. So there's a couple of green bars here right after the open. Just kind of fading that initial move. Well, this was really the initial move. But you could take this long if you're looking at this 1 hour zone. Form this guy, came back up, take one of these shorts, I don't know, pick one. Just sideways. Again, bounced out of there. Again, you could take that. Very grindy, but you could take either one of these. Nice too. And then this is interesting because it still came down. This might, you might get a fake out right here, honestly. Trying to buy that again. This move up did technically break this, so you could kind of view this as a continuation up or as a bounce. I guess it kind of depends how you look at it because you do have this downtrend. You just break above that. So when you come back down, you get a reaction and you like, it turns out to be a fakie. And what the real reaction is this, where you kind of wick below the zone and then reverse up and keep going up until you hit that zone again. So just bouncing off the zones, even if you did take this fakie, if you're taking everything that we're marking out right now, even if you did take this fake, you're still probably good because you got one. Like if you're literally just bouncing between the zones on Monday, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 4 out of 5 are good trades. Really weird sideways day though. I'm just gonna keep this moving and move to Tuesday. Just keep it moving. Just keep it moving. Okay, April 7th, yesterday. Okay. So this was the open right here. Opening candle, opening 5-minute candle. Color down. So I'm not seeing anything so far. This looks like it could be a fake to the downside. You know, out of this smaller zone. And this is another reason I look at the bigger zones. But you did form this. So these are two, if you're trading 5-minute zones, and you trade that. It did wick through, but, you know, I don't know. It was a big green candle. It's a big up move. It broke through this. It looks like it could be good to go short right here, but turns out not. 5-minute zone here. You could try to take that because this candle broke above this situation. Even though it's a big wick and there's another big wick back here, it doesn't look great. So you might be tempted to take something like this, like these two, you know. But that's not very good. And then you could actually take this. One of these moves up. These green candles. You know, you see two here. You take this. And that turned into a big move. Okay. And that's what formed this 1-hour zone for the next day. But that kind of, so Tuesday ends right here. So this is really the only good trade today. And you gotta remember this zone isn't here when when you're trading that. So you got to look at this like kind of like a reversal. Like what is this? What is this bouncing out of? There's kind of a 5-minute zone back here, but in terms of 1-minute zones, I mean that's actually pretty canny right there. In retrospect, of course. Yeah. Oh, this one. Yeah. In retrospect, that's a clear move, but bounce. It just didn't. I just don't love it because it didn't break this structure without wicking at the top. But if you want to take this 5-minute, do you think a reversal is happening? That would have been a good one, and you would have made a bunch of money. Let's get that 1 hour back in here. There we go. Okay, now let's look at today. There we go. Look at today. So yeah, somehow I made $15 yesterday. I don't know how. That's what the stat board says. So coming into today, we were moving out of, we were already consolidating inside. Let's see if this, yeah, so it took, at the open is when it actually moved out of the zone, but we were consolidating pre-market within this higher time frame zone. Not the, not the best zone. It's kind of this right here, and like, it's really more this. Um, Obviously we moved above that. So I don't know why. Is this a 4-hour zone? Is that what I did? Yeah, it's a little bit of a 4-hour zone. I think that's what's going on here. So it's this 4-hour zone that we clearly, yeah, on the 4-hour, we clearly had a rejection of already. So it turns out we have another rejection. Nice. And I also had the 5-minute opening range drawn in here. This is your first trade of the day. Not really coming out of anything specific, just kind of this general push down below this low. Jeez, below this low. Uh, it's just not exact, but it's a move that you could take. Like given these pushes down at the open, given this push down, and mainly given the fact that we're inside this 4-hour supply zone, you could take this big candle, move it at least down to that previous 5-minute zone. And then in the afternoon is when I took this trade because it really bounced right there. It bounced pretty hard right there. And you could take this, but I always talk about not taking that first bounce. I always talking about taking like and then taking this move right here and moving up like that rather than taking this move. But sometimes that's the move that happens. So if I didn't take that, that would have worked. But what I did take, so even though this was a reversal, it moved back up into the 5-minute opening range, and it moved back up into the 4-hour bigger supply zone, and that created a hard rejection. I came in, you can see it on this candle at 139, so right here. 139. And my stop up here. Took profit at 121, it looks like. There you go. And then I had a runner, but I took it again right there. Got a little antsy. Could have just left that really, and that would have, even if I moved to break even, I would rather not do that. Because at the end of the day, even if it comes back to my stop, I still have one winning micro contract there. In that case, I think I got a little caught up in the dollar value, honestly. Really trying to focus on points because that's it. That's all you got to worry about. Right? Like you can just scale that up if you just keep getting the same points. Just get points, points, points. That's it. Forget about dollars, and then you can scale up your dollars. Because initially I either put it here or here, one of these 5-minute zones, and either one of those would have been a great, you know, situation. Or actually, no, I put it here. I know this is hearsay, but I put it where it bounced hard off that 5-minute zone, just in case. And that, of course, would have hit for 185-ish, 190 points. And you actually would have, you know, this might continue going. I don't know. This seems to be a strong 4-hour zone. So didn't short the top, but shorted pretty high for the day. So, you know, that's why I have the multiple contracts, is to take advantage of situations like this. And I don't want to say I'm shortchanging myself, because I'm also trying to get myself in the habit of like just getting one win, one base hit, and that's also enough to make a good living, as long like if you just scale that up too. So get a good base hit, cover yourself, and then I mean, how many videos on here have I had where I just like short the top? Or I feel like I mostly short the top, but I'm sure I've long the bottom. It doesn't always happen, but if you keep your risk in check, you know, um, then that extra contract would have paid off when I left the take profit down here, you know. Um, Even if I was crazy and just didn't even, you know, even if it didn't hit that take profit and just like closed out at 4 o'clock, that's still a really good 80 plus points. So today's takeaways: focus on the points, leave the computer alone. You have a runner for a reason. I think that's it. Take your base points. Take your base hits. Points, base hits. Use your runner is doing its job. Let it do its job. The way I have it structured was taking 66% at 1-to-1 and leaving a 33% runner. I'm still going to come out on top with 33% if the 1-to-1 hits and the runner doesn't. So just leave it, man. Just leave it. Just forget about it. Set it and forget it. And if I was my boss man, I had a 5 to 7 point stop, you know, still be looking pretty good here. There's the 10 points. If we do it where I took it, there's the 10 points. There's the little stop. Doesn't always work like that, but all right. This has gone on long enough. See ya.